Hello, investors, and welcome back. Let's talk about SNDL because it took off today after yesterday. I was talking about how I'm incredibly bullish on this because there's just so many things coming up that I have 99.9% certainty that tomorrow we should get a news drop on Alcanna. But let's go through what happened today. I want to explain this price action. Let's take a look at the charts first. Then we're going to go into legislation, and I want to talk about Alcanna, their financials that were released, and why I believe it's a failed liquor business. Maybe not completely failed, but they're restructuring it so it's got a bigger bite in the future. So I want to show you where I'm getting all of this information and not just make assumptions. Do not use this as investment advice, but it sure as heck's going to sound like it. Down here at the bottom, I've got a line drawn in green, meaning I believe that this is a safe buy zone, and I believe in buying low and selling high. Now, people definitely chose to sell high because some people were taking profits right here at this. I would say it's not even making it up to 80 cents anymore. You see, I've had this line drawn in here previously at 80.33, but it is backing off that a little bit. But tomorrow, this should receive a nice pop when that news comes out. I've got a buy line drawn in here at 71.90. I believe 60.45 is the low for this stock moving forward with this transaction being complete, because when it really started spiking was the legislation that's going through. Let's get straight into that. So you've got my buy ranges. This is not investment advice. Look at your own charts. You can see here on the RSI, and of course this is the 1 hour chart. If we go to the 30-minute chart or even the 5-minute chart, you can see there were a few opportunities here in the 30-minute chart at 71.90 if you wanted to get in low. Now, it doesn't mean that this can't go down further, and it's signaling that it's going to a downtrend. And those macroeconomic indicators with higher oil prices and the conflict with Ukraine and increasing commodity costs and supply chain issues, and you name it, the fear of a recession and the indicators of the 2 and the 10-year yield. I mean, we're going to have to watch those things. But here's what I'll say is happening with the Rules Committee meeting on HR 3617 and HR 6833. Let me tell you about both of these. The first one is the Affordable Insulin Now Act. That's HR 6833. So if you're Googling and you're wanting to get more information, you're wanting to look at the failed approach on the war on drugs, HR 3617. And let me scroll down here. You can see this was 4 hours long, but I got the gist of what happened today by just going down here and looking at a summary of the tweets. I support the decriminalization or decriminalizing of flower, passing federal reform so that states can make their own decisions about how to regulate these substances. But the MORE Act, as it's written, is deeply flawed. And then it's one of 6, and it just keeps going down here. It's unfortunate that the House appears to be rushing to approve the same bill it passed a year ago and has absolutely no chance of becoming law. We must do better. And then if you keep going down here, as written, this bill contains loopholes that would allow expungement of federal drug charges for individuals who simply should not be eligible, jeopardizing public safety. The amendment I'm submitting would prevent individuals, including violent felons, organized crime leaders, and anyone who has been found guilty of trafficking and couldn't be let out of prison having their records expunged. So that's pretty much the gist of what happened. So, what's going to happen with this? Will it take longer? This may have caused a sharp decline after this went into motion today. So you can keep up with this. Put in HR 3617, and right here on congress.gov, it's going to give you the option to look at introduced, passed by the House, passed by the Senate, to the President, and becomes law. And of course, this is what you're wanting to keep track of if you are looking for that volatility in this play. Now, before this even started, I was still bullish on SNDL. This is just icing to the cake and has nothing to do with law according to Canada or where this business is located. Now, if we go into the financial reports, I want you to know 2 things. The first thing is that the company will publish their financial results, and they're going to give you bullet points up front that are going to make the company sound great. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what they do. You'll see all of these things that sound amazing, and then you'll see a fluctuation in the price, and it's very hard to understand. So it's really important that you go one step further and you go into those quarterly reports, and that's what was published today. So there's a few things that I was looking at specifically, and that's point number 4, and there's 16 total points in this report. And point number 14, and obviously you want to look at sales, you want to look at the cost of sales and margins at the very least, and then how much debt they have. So be sure to go through and check this out in more detail, but I did want to show you the discontinued operations and assets held for sale. So Alaska operations, and for me, I did a filtering method. I wanted to see all the new information. So I wanted to highlight the date because look, we all have time limitations. Can't go over everything or be an expert in all businesses, but March 31st, that's what I was looking for. And in here, I highlighted that, and I just wanted to also read through and just understand that they are still going through this transformation. They're doing this restructuring. Not only are they selling some of the businesses off that aren't performing well, but they are down here, they have lease agreements and contract agreements to further expand, and that's point number 14, which I'm scrolling down to now. So I want to see growth in a business. Not only that Nova is planning to open more store locations, but as they're closing a lot of these retail liquor stores, I want to know that there's growth ahead. And that's what I'm really trying to understand. So if we go down here, this is number 11. Number 14, you can see this is pretty long. So right down here, you have 3 lines. You've got construction of new retail stores, which in 2021 was 780. We've got leases, current leases, and there's a little indication that you could look at the footnotes and read what that means. We have the leases that looks like this dollar amount is increasing for 2022, but then it starts to decline or decrease, which would be good for the business to pay less. So I'm not sure exactly how that's happening, but that would be good news if that's true. Lease reclassified to held for sale 26. So you can see versus held for sale versus new store locations with this restructuring happening. And I don't know why these numbers aren't carried over to 2022, but I meant this is a positive sign. Hopefully what is happening is there's some type of restructuring taking place. Price targets. People were asking me about that. And just to kind of summarize the end of this, it is going to be impossible. And anybody out there that wants to guess at a price target, we're going to need to see the first quarter with all of this combined together so we could take a look at the way that this is structured and the way that it shakes out. Now, the good thing is that this is cash generating, and we've got good performance out of Nova. So we've got 2 businesses that are running well, and that's why it's made me incredibly bullish that this transaction is going through. So tomorrow could be a very good day for SNDL. We have some macroeconomic indicators. Legislation is looking shaky, but that's not something I was ever worried about. And if you're buying things like Tilray or some of these other stocks that it's reliant on that legislation, it could be a riskier play. And that's why I have consistently talked about SNDL, because of what is coming up in the near-term horizon. I believe I'm still bullish on this play. If you get an opportunity to buy at 71 and it just keeps going lower, like I said, you want to cost average down. You always want to keep some money on the side because of those macroeconomic indicators. Do not play with those. Cyber attack, any number of things could happen, and definitely something could happen that I'm not mentioning into this video as this goes down. And if it does, if it pulls back at all, those are buying opportunities in my opinion. That's all I got. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like this kind of content, and I'll keep it coming out. See you in the next video.